Hello folks, hope you're doing well. So, okay. I'm going to take you back to yesterday. Yesterday I think it was, when I laid the point out to say, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be going back to church. Well, the reason is because yesterday was when God helped me to understand the impact that church has on me. Yeah, someone who's not churchy, someone who is problem, noticing, and someone who asks questions all the time, someone who wants to find ways to fix things rather than just, and someone who, if I see a problem, I can't just ignore it. I can't. Whether I see a problem in people, whether I see a problem in the church, whether I see a problem in the business, I can't just ignore it. Right, today I went to the Spiny Ruins and they got a gate there which is a real pain in the butt. Now, I paused the video recording, looked at the gate so I can understand why it's behaving the way it is. That when you try and unlock the thing, the bolt is in there really stiff. And it's a real pain in the arse to get out, especially trying to do it one-handed. You've got to actually put your phone down to do it. So I had a look at where the hinges are and had a look at the gap at the top and the bottom of where the gate was against the post. Of course, at the top it was further out than it was at the bottom, which was pushing the gate down, which was pushing the lock further down than where it should be. You lift the gate up, the lock comes out nice and smooth. So at some point during the time that gate's been there, the hinge at top has shifted slightly. Well, that's me. I can't just undo it. There's a problem. Okay, I've come across this problem a few times. Right, enough. I want to figure it out. What's causing the problem? Yeah. Next time I see someone there who works for the council or works for the people that manage it, I'm going to mention the gate and see if they can fix it. Because it's annoyance. And that's how my mind works. It doesn't work like someone who wants to be part of the collective. Yeah, I talked about the Borg effect. And to be assimilated, that's how church does things. It assimilates people. Yeah, it gets people from the world who have been part of something in the world, and now you become part of something even bigger. You become part of the church. So you get assimilated into the understanding and the ways of church. Well, when I was a young Christian, did they try to assimilate me? I wouldn't really know. Well, in King's Church, yes. In King's Church, Chatham, Kent, yes, they did try. But it would never have worked. Because I'd already been with God for, I think, 3 years by the time I went there. So I was already independent of church, already independently thinking, because of the fact that I'd always been independently thinking as growing up. Most of my education wasn't from education, or from the education system. Most of my education was, I learned maths by playing darts. I said there was a teacher at the Cotswold community called, I think it's Peter Williams was his name. Wonderful human being. I pray that he is with God, because I imagine he has passed now. What a glorious human being that man was. He was the one that taught us how to do, I said the other day about whether that skill is where you put the nails in and put the string across to create a picture or to create a word. Yeah, to create letters that make a word. Yeah, he was the one who taught us how to do that. Taught us how to do pottery, taught us how to do carving and weaving and all that sort of stuff. Wonderful human being, bit of a hippie, and as I said, he was one who, at the end of term, he would have a game of bingo played for the kids of his classroom, and he would provide, must have been, I mean, if you put it today, it would be at least £10 to £20 worth of sweets that could be won by the kids. Yeah, in this game of bingo, because you weren't playing for money, you were playing for sweets. The prize is for winning that one is you get a load of sweets. And he did this, and everybody loved him. Absolutely loved him. He was an incredible human being. And it's with him that I learnt maths, because we would play darts. He would play darts for me. So of course you got to learn to, take away, to do math, to add up this and that, and to do times table, because of course you've got, in darts you've got the singular, you've got the double, and you've got the triple. So you've got to learn to do maths, and learn to do maths pretty quickly. Basic maths, that's all. Yeah. That's the point. He was what you call a free thinker. And I think he was one of my big influences in my life. And I was always a free thinker. I was always, I said before that I was, as a kid, teaching adults how to play tennis. And that was simply because when I watched tennis, I would watch what they did and then consider, how did they do that? Okay, work out how they did that. How do I teach other people to do that? Okay, got that. Now do that. Yeah. And that's always been me. And so, of course, church was never going to assimilate me. But again, that's not because I'm better than anyone else in there, because in many ways I've been far less fortunate, because relationships are very important. And when you see people in church who have had people that they have been in friendship with, and whether it be shallow or whatever, for 20, 30 years, that's something I can look at and say that would have been nice to have had. So I don't see myself as better off or better. I'm just who I am, they're just who they are. But so but as I say, because I'm not of that and that way of thinking, then I can't figure the people out. And I can't figure out how to help them. Normally I can figure out how to help people, because most people that are very normal, certainly according to the world, I can understand them and I can help them out. People of church, I can't understand them. I can't understand how they got to where they got to as being of church, and therefore understand how to get them from where they are to where they need to be. And that is an incredibly difficult position for me to be in. It's incredibly frustrating and problematic, to say the least. So I don't know, I'm not sure if I'd ever want to go back into a church based upon that understanding. If God was saying to me he wanted me to go to a certain place to have fellowship with a certain person, because then I could learn how people get into that position and therefore learn how to help them, then I'd go in. Otherwise, all it's going to be is a place of frustration and heartache, because the problem is, if you get to know the people and you get to care about the people, and you see where the people are, and you know that there's nothing you can do to help them, because they've chosen their path, they've chosen to be assimilated into this system, and they won't come out of it, because they have deep relationships that have gone for 20 years in this, and they won't come out of those relationships. And they believe that coming out of that system means they have to come out of those relationships, and they just won't do it because of that. And so how do you help people in that situation? How do you care for people if you can't help them? Because seeing people in that sort of situation, seeing people potentially on a path that's going to take them to an eternity in hell, what you want to do is scream out to them. But because they don't want to listen, it doesn't matter what you scream out. It doesn't matter what. And the more you scream out, the more they push you away, because they don't want to hear any of this. And when that's the case, that's a tough thing. Well, it's because all these people are people. Like me, they've been hurt. Like me, they feel pain, and they've had good times and bad times. They've got people that they care about and people that care about them. And so they matter. And therefore it matters. So there. Right, there you go. Hopefully that explains. You take care. God bless. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.